The Heartless CEO. Written by Yaron G. Chapter 25. Awaken Desire. After eating, Joseph invited Nicole to drink a little. He was making the most of her time with him. He was happy and she accepted the invitation. The light where they were was dim, so their dinner looked romantic. Nicole also wanted to forget the things that were bothering her mind and heart, so she accepted his invitation. "Thanks, I miss this." Nicole smiled and raised the glass to toast with Joseph. She was not used to drinking, though she was immediately drunk. But she trusted Joseph and he would take her home. "I'm the one who should be thankful. You know you're the only one I'm comfortable with in this thing." A hesitant smile flashed on Joseph's lips. Nicole laughed at her friend's gesture. She knew he wanted to try to have a relationship with a woman. She was the one who he thought of. And because she was drunk, she also became naughty and playful. Nicole brought her face close to her friend's and whispered, "You want us to try? Let's start with a kiss," she said teasingly. Joseph almost spit out the wine in his mouth because of the woman's mischievousness. His face became a bit red. He was the embarrassed one instead of Nicole. Nicole pursed her lips and slowly brought her face closer to Joseph's to further tease him. But before her lips could touch his cheek, someone pulled her. "Ah!" Nicole was surprised and felt like all the alcohol she had drunk suddenly go up to her head. Even Joseph was startled by the sudden appearance of the person in front of him. He was about to snatch the woman back from him, but he stopped when he recognized who he was. "Do you know you're taking advantage of her? She's obviously drunk," Stephen commented seriously to Joseph and held the woman's body tightly to stop her from getting away. "Hey!" Annoyed, Nicole tapped Stephen's arm that was wrapped around her waist. "We're having fun here. Let me go." Stephen tightened his grip on her body even more. "Shut up. I'll take you home." "Joseph, I don't want to go home yet." Nicole asked for help like a child. She even stretched out her hands to reach the man. But Stephen quickly grabbed her hand and squeezed it between their bodies. "Bro, I don't think you're in the right. I'm with her, so I'll send her back." Joseph calmly dealt with Stephen. "You're drunk too. I'll send her home." Stephen was stubborn and glared at Joseph. Joseph sighed and couldn't do anything to get Nicole from Stephen's hands. When the competitor looked at him that way, he knew well that he will do something bad to his business when he opposed him. "Bro, I'll drink what's for Nicole on her behalf, so you won't be lonely. Moreover, I came back to say hello to you." Joseph turned his gaze to the speaker. He just noticed that Sander was also there. He could only let it go when Stephen picked up Nicole and took her out of his restaurant. Nicole buried her face in Stephen's chest because of the embarrassment she felt. She could feel that the people they were passing through were looking at them. She did not know why the man was angry with her again and they were still in a public place. Nicole shook her head. Even Stephen put her in his car. She became more and more dizzy and her head ached. "Give me your address," Stephen said while driving. Nicole slowly opened her eyes and peered into the serious man's face. He knit his brows and furrowed his forehead. Because she was drunk, she could not watch her words. "You're such a killjoy. It was so close." She pouted and intertwined her hands. She slowly brought the two fingers together, as if they would kiss, but before it could happen, the car suddenly stopped. She wouldn't hit the dashboard if she didn't have a seatbelt. What the hell did you say? Nicole pouted, even more because of the loudness of Steven's voice. You don't have a relationship with that man, but you plan to kiss him? Steven's temper flared with anger and he tightened his grip on the steering wheel. What's wrong with that? You're the one who kissed me even though we're not in a relationship. Steven's eyes widened and turned violently to Nicole. The anger he felt gradually lessened when he saw her first lips twitching. He was indeed drunk and didn't know what she was saying. Steven sighed loudly and shook his head. You can say anything because it's true. She frowned and glared at him when she saw him shaking his head. I'm different from Joseph and other men. So, you're the only one I should kiss? Is that it? The edge of Nicole's lips twitched and she looked again at the young man's face while he averted his gaze from her. You're drunk. Let's talk tomorrow. Steven attempted to restart the car, but Nicole protested. You have to admit you're jealous of Joseph. I'm not. Steven answered quickly. Take me back there. Then, I need to give my kiss to him. She ordered the man, angrily. Are you insane? Why would I do that? Steven felt all his blood rush to his head in anger. Then, I'll kiss you instead if you don't take me back there. She threatened the young man. Her eyes were already dropping and she wanted to do whatever was on her mind. You crazy woman. Don't blame me after this. Nicole couldn't talk back when Steven's mouth suddenly covered her lips. She felt even more drunk and she was suddenly thirsty. Steven couldn't help but let out a small growl when he tasted the sweetness of the woman's lips. The alcohol's smell mixed with her breath, and he felt like he was drunk too. He can't be wrong now. He felt the same way, then with a woman and now with Nicole. The fire quickly spread through his body, and the long sleep on his manhood came to an end. Nicole no longer knew how Steven had removed her blazer, and since the blouse is only a tube, it's easy for him to move it down to the belly. Simultaneously with a growl, her chest heaved as the young man's hot lips occupied the top of one of her breasts. Steven was like a lion that was eager for food. He was drowning in the sensation of being engulfed in his manhood. And because his car stopped far from the house, no one noticed. It was also dark on the side where they were and only few vehicles were passing by. Nicole's hand also became audacious in feeling the delicate part of the young man's body. She liked what Steven was doing to her, and she was already feeling the heat that his kisses brought to her body. Steven was shocked when Nicole touched his already stiff manhood. Anytime his member is ready and eager to dive into the maiden's cave, it became even more stiff and resisted from the strangulation of the girl's hand along his length. Nicole's attempt to get off the zipper of Steven's pants was thwarted when suddenly a car honked. Steven cursed as he helped the girl fix her clothes. He made sure her clothes were back in order before lowering the window of his car. Are you all right, sir? A man asked out of a good will. He noticed from the parking lot earlier that a car had been parked there for a long time. Yes, we're fine, thank you. Steven politely replied to the gentleman. He knew he was only being kind, but he still didn't like him for disturbing them. The man scratched his head when he saw the woman with the owner of the car. I'm sorry for the inconvenience. I'm leaving so you can continue what you have to finish. It was as if cold water had been poured Nicole and her sanity returned to her mind. If the stranger hadn't disturbed them, she might have surrendered herself to Stephen right there in the car. She just pretended to be asleep when Stephen started the car again. She had given him the address of their house. Stephen just let the woman sleep until they got to her house. She woke up right away when he woke her. He didn't accept her invitation to have coffee first because he might lose his mind again. Until now, Stephen still feels pain in his abdomen because he was unable to release body heat. Stephen is now more confused with himself and Nicole. The heat of her body and her lips was familiar to him. But it's impossible for them to be the same person. Still, he was very confused. I need to find out her true identity, Stephen said to himself. When Stephen arrived at their house, his grandmother immediately greeted him. It looked like they have a lot to talk about. So, how are you? And your new partner? Asuncion didn't want to beat around the bush. Stephen shook his head. Because of his grandmother's question, her reaction about Nicole was the opposite of his sister's. Do you think she's a good woman? Asuncion kept asking her grandson. I can't say yet. I need to investigate her. He answered his grandmother seriously. If you think you should, do it. Asuncion supported her grandson. Stephen sighed again when he remembered his daughter. Danica and I need to process our marriage. Asuncion's joy diminished when she remembered what happened to her great-granddaughter at school. She didn't like what happened and didn't want the child to feel that her family was different from everyone else. Maybe it's time to let Daniela know about her true mother. You can't be tied into a relationship and sacrifice your happiness for your sister and daughter. Asuncion's decision. But she's still young and Danica has been a good person to us. If it weren't for her, we might not have found Rita alive back then. Madame Asuncion's eyes narrowed, and she thought, her grandson is right, and she is not such a cruel person to drive Danica out of their family without a proper reason. She did nothing wrong to her family. To be continued.